Hi, hey, hello, is Skycatlive. What's up, guys? It's 12:09 p.m. on a Sunday. It's 6:28:26, and it's 75 degrees out. What's up? It's 12:09, 6:28, 75 degrees out, Sunday. I love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Today I'll be playing some EVE Online, some Rust, and some Gloria Victis. We will see how that goes. We'll check out the Epic Free Games and firing up all the different games and everything. We're gonna get in on faction warfare here and keep grinding sites and stuff. I made so much money. I'm gonna make so much money that I want to be able to pay for my second account. I think that'd be fun. It'd be fun to buy Plex. Just start buying Plex by order. Yeah, and like buy or but like yeah, just buy Plex. I think that would be a good commodity to buy. Every couple of months, I buy 2 billion worth of Plex, which would be worth it. Yeah, it would be hard. I don't know. I think I'd rather just play one account. Two accounts is better. People leave me alone more. Anyways, getting off the big face. I'm gonna get the microphone situated here. Check, 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 check. Yeah, it looks good to me. Okay, we logging in. Drop it off the big face. Okay, I am in on Rust, looking around. Let's go to the harbor. And I will wait for a cargo to come, maybe. I don't know about that. We'll see. This boat appears damaged for whatever reason. Sort of odd. Oh, maybe the heli, the attack heli. Oh, right, I blew 3,000 scrap on an attack heli, and it's probably gone, full blown gone. And when it fell, it probably blew up and damaged the ship really bad. Makes sense. Okay, fire it up. Oh no! Did I leave fuel on? Oh, really? Well, do I have more fuel? I should. Yeah, I do. Nice. So, 1,600. 500. 500. 600. Go. Okay, take me up. Oh, I will need to produce some meds again. Oh, am I in the path of the cargo? I actually might be. That might not be so good. I will slowly take us out of the path. Oh yeah, this is the bottom. Like, but I just want to be out of the path. Yeah, so if I can go back out to sea, I'm set. Perfect. Go. We don't want to get caught. We know that there's a ledge on this one that really sucks to get caught on. It eats like a lot of time. So yeah, and then we just like come back in and wait for cargo. Alright, I'm gonna go on Gloria Victis. Goodbye. I am reformatting my D drive. As you can see here, it had corrupted, which was sort of sad, but it's good to get it all back in order again. I think when I restarted my computer today, it spent like 35 minutes fixing all the sectors on the drive, and now that I reformatted, I think it'll probably be back ready for use again. There's two Tristans. No, there's a sorry, there's a prospect and a Tango. Neither one of those. There, Tengu. Excuse me. There's neither one of those things worry me. I am going to go to the Scout BSC and start there. Let us warp fleet to point. I am working on Gloria Victis, so I'd like you to play. And we will pin to taskbar. Then I will get in on 76 and do my main. Wow, this got in fast. It loads in fast. Oh no, I guess I can't. Duh. Five in local, only one gal mill. Game looks good. The frames are at 61. I suppose food was a thing that I need to like actually get. Bags are too hard to see. Oh no, don't log me. Oh, I can play 76 on my high risk character on GeForce Now, which is cool. That's a cool option. Maybe I'll do that in the background. Play Gory Victus, Eve, and 76 as opposed to Russ until the Russ wipe hits. Enter Shikari. 4 days, 18 hours. This is a real MMO that you can get lost in. I have a high opinion of it. Actually, I kind of want to bump the graphics. Because it's like, it looks so old and not so good. I think I've seen it look better than this. Maybe we just shoot for Ultra. With the shadow quality turned off and the shadow rendering distance off. And let's just try everything turned up. There, I mean, it's still playing well, and the game looks a lot better than it did. And like, I need it to look good. Yeah, this looks a lot better, and I don't know. Oops. I wonder if it has my settings. Taxidermy agua. Timber Sawgill player icon. Teal bathroom urinal. There, I got frames back there. And the game looks good enough to me. It reminds me of like New World now. There was another 10 mil in 5 minutes or whatever. It's insane. Did you leash? Oh, I got 25 silver for doing that. Nice. How do you see how many... Oh, armor is too... Okay, I'm almost out. I'm out of ammo. Oops.
I'll be straight with you. I think we're past the point where I just want to use you to further my own goals. I may be starting to like you. Now, I don't want you thinking your pal Rose is going soft on you, so let me just say this. If you ever get it in your head to screw me
All
over,
these settings have been reset.
I will gut you with this here saw and string your entrails up like Christmas tinsel. Nothing personal.
Charcoal and olives. There's a lot of items for what I'll be using.
Our soldiers took over the eastern mine. We have to hold it.
Wait, there's a spear in this? It's a one-handed weapon. Dex instrument.
Damn barbarians took over the eastern mine. We need to reclaim it.
Wait, frames are really good. Nice. These are the best settings I could get. The music's so good. I'm starting to see why food matters, probably because it's like, you have a lot of downtime, food probably helps with that. Yeah, it's cool to play 76 in the background, but it's not passive enough. That'd probably be mortal. Wish Mortal's combat was this good. The game wants you to actually be allowed to fight. Not this stupid shit about you've got to hit from a certain direction or block from a certain direction or any of that stuff. It is there, and you could technically like do really well with it, but it also wants to let you just duke it out with somebody and do some damage, and I do like that. I like it a lot more than Mortal.
Damn barbarians took over the eastern mine. We need to reclaim it.
There's more gal mill in here now. true. Sometimes you see damage, sometimes you don't. He's a beast, dude. She constantly is getting off track over and over and over again for no reason. It's fine. You know I'm not playing the game or telling her to go anywhere, right? Piece of shit cocksucker developer. Ooh, 17. One, two, three, one, two, three, one. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Accept, and then we got 5 points for abilities, which is good. 8, 9, 10, which is damage dealt to full power, increased by 5%. Accept. Damage is increased. I'll just go into that. Yeah. Oops. Yeah. Check, check, check. Did you mess with my microphone again? Yes, you did. It's the Discord. It's like in Discord. Thought I changed it, but maybe not. If it was gonna burn off, it'll do it like right here. Nice, that was the cap? Yes, it was, and that was like 20 million. $15.
So this is like way before clip farming was even a thing. Like now you'll see this shit every week from a streamer. Damn, even when he's like depressed, he's like chest mugging me. Holy shit. Yeah, that was a very straight thing to say there, definitely. Now there was a clip going around that got him in hot water, basically saying that he likes Street Fighter, but he also likes viewers.
I like Street Fighter, but I also like viewers. It just doesn't work like that. I'm sorry.
Which is basically a kind of way of saying that he can't really do Street Fighter because he's not really pulling in that many viewers. Now, for context on why he's saying this, he actually beat Tyler 1 in the exhibition, despite Tyler 1 being heavily favored to win. Ludwig revealed that he was actually grinding the game in secret off stream, and when asked why he barely ever played the game on stream, he basically said that in the clip, saying that it would get him no viewers. So this obviously pissed off a lot of people in the fighting community, especially with Street Fighter. Like, for example, this guy saying that he never thought they'd hear a sentence like that at an Evo stage, and they don't even know if they're angry or disappointed. Now, some people were aware that it was a joke, but still thought it was kind of baffling to make, especially celebrating fighting games. Now, Ludwig did see this, went into immediate PR mode, and then said that he was actively meeting and hanging out with people in the fighting game community. And he's saying that the entire controversy is basically just made up drama from a slut tuber. Wait, that's me. Wait a minute. Holy, bro, you stopped doing Mogul Mail for a year, and now you think you're above us? Get out of here. Get out of here. Now, before I get into some more internet opinions that no one cares about, I'm going to be honest here. I've discovered empathy recently, and I'm trying to, you know, think of what Ludwig would be like on stage. And it's pretty obvious, you know, it's live. He doesn't have a script or anything. He doesn't have a bunch of notes in front of him. Like, for example, I've got a bunch of tweets that I'm working off in front of me. And also keep in mind, he beat Tyler 1. He probably has a fat fucking ego right now. A lot of people would. I know in his position, I would do the exact same thing. And what happens if you've got an unchecked ego, you'll probably make jokes without actually thinking of the context or the fallout of it. I mean, personally, I don't really think the comments he made are that deep. I mean, honestly, I could easily imagine he would make a remark like that, and then straight away afterwards, the heart clench of, oh, did I actually say that? No. I mean, writing it off as drama for slop tubers, fair enough. I know that there are some people that definitely have like a vendetta and a bit of a hate boner against Ludwig. I mean, I'm gonna be honest here, I criticized him before. You know, the whole, let's up those numbers. I mean, there is a pretty funny Ludwig gif I've seen being shared around. I don't even understand the context, but he levels up, I think, in Minecraft, and it says he gained a rank in coal. I think it's like coal 3, and he's just absolutely freaking out about it. I'm not sure the context, but it's still fucking hilarious. Yeah! But, you know, I do agree with him. I think it is really overblown. Was it a poor taste joke? Yeah, probably. But again, it was like heat of the moment. He had a huge ego when he won from beating Tyler 1. Anyone would. His ego was probably higher than the cakes his girlfriend bakes in the oven. But he obviously cared enough to not just ignore it, to actually go onto Twitter and be like, I didn't mean it, guys. Now, other people tried to take jabs at him as well. Like, for example, saying that Ludwig said that Street Fighter 6 is boring to watch. And then Ludwig replied by saying, no, I didn't. I just didn't say that. And then you had other people weigh in as well. Like, for example, pointing out that Ludwig, you know, the amount of time and money that he spent running Melee tournaments, which proves that, you know, this isn't just a grift. He genuinely does love fighting games, and I definitely believe the fact that he was training off stream as well. I think it's just one of those dramas that's absolute zero, but people have a hate boner for Ludwig, so, you know, they hear anything slightly negative about him, they'll just say, Ludwig, place! So, Gabe Newell, or as I personally refer to him as, Gabe N.
Gabe N. at valvesoftware.com.
I want to point out, by the way, that was a huge meme in early internet culture in the 2010s, especially if you were autistic. And Gabe Newell caught wind of it, and he got bullied so much that he actually changed the way that it was pronounced.
GABEN at valvesoftware.com.
Anyway, so Gabe N, he's released his Steam machine, his new console, and it is a whopping $1,049 USD. Now, Valve, like many other companies I've talked about, Xbox, PlayStation, the reason why their prices are so high is because the rapidly rising cost of memory and storage, because all the AI companies are slurping it up so you can use ChatGPT to cheat on your exam. But they did say that they don't want to cut corners and sell the console at a loss like other companies do. I mean, Xbox is doing that. I think PlayStation's doing that. But obviously Sony and Microsoft, they make their money elsewhere. The console market for those two is actually very small compared to all the other electronics and software that they provide. So instead of a traditional pre-order system, they've actually gone ahead and done a reservation system to try and make the launch more fairer, and more importantly, to limit the scumbag scalpers that are absolute scum of the earth. So if you wanted to buy one, you were basically assigned a random spot in the queue, and selected buyers would have 72 hours to complete their purchase before that reservation was then passed to the next person. Again, all of this is because of scalpers. Scum of the earth. They are terrible people. Contribute absolutely nothing to society. Leeches. I mean, honestly, if it wasn't for scalpers, you would basically just be able to probably go ahead and buy a Steam machine without this entire wait list. So apparently, in order to qualify to even be in the reservation queue, your Steam needs to be in good standing. So to anyone with a VAC ban, I'm sorry for your loss. And also at least one Steam purchase made before April 27th this year. So basically, the system is set up on purpose to filter out all of the bot accounts, because, you know, you hear a console come out, it's limited, all the scalpers going to activate, use their little bot accounts on Steam, their Smurf accounts, but, you know, having purchases before that date will filter out a huge majority of them. Not all of them, you'll never be able to do that, but a large portion. Now, Steam and Gay Ben have tried their best to limit the scalpers. Still hasn't worked, because now you've got scalpers that are selling their reservation spots on eBay for prices way above the console's original price, anywhere from like $1,500 to nearly $3,000. I actually don't know who has more unwarranted self-importance, scalpers or blue phantoms in Dark Souls. So, PlayStation. I love to complain about PlayStation. I cannot get the words out to describe how happy I am to say something bad about PlayStation. Okay, that is a little bit hyperbolic, but PlayStation have done a big oopsie. They've actually decided to delete over 500 films from their library that customers have already paid for. So this is the perfect example, and I know this buzz sentence gets thrown around a lot. You will own nothing and you'll be happy. Look, I get it. Like TV shows, films, there's licensing deals. They expire. You go on Netflix. That film's leaving soon. No, I need to watch it now. But this is stuff that, like, you paid for individually.
Why is this guy attacking
so
so
Sony
fast?
at the minute is currently contacting PlayStation Store users who bought films distributed by Studio Canal. And they basically sent a message being like, "We're really sorry, but the licensing has expired." Well, you know, that wasn't actually true, because there wasn't even an apology. They basically just said, we're taking the films away. Unlucky. No refund, no in-store credit, nothing. Someone was quick to point out on Twitter that Sony made $7.5 billion in profit in 2025, but they're still quite happy to shaft their customers. The thing is, if licenses expire, I get that, right? Because that becomes a huge legal thing, whatever, blah, 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 blah. We live in a dystopia. You'll own nothing. You'll be happy. But still, it's kind of like, you know, you should be able to at least get some kind of refund on this. Now, some of the films that are being removed, you've got Terminator 2, which is basically the best Terminator film.
2.
You've got Total Recall, which is another Arnie movie. There was another one as well called Confessions of a Dangerous Mind. But again, there is no mention of refunds, despite the fact that users have purchased these films. I'm going to be honest here, even Nintendo is absolutely mogging you at this point, and Nintendo is one of the worst companies out there for, you know, consumer care. I still remember that you could, like, rent GoldenEye on your Switch, and if you stopped paying the premium, they would take it from your library, but, you know, at least you knew what you were getting into there. These are purchases you've made, and they're now just being taken away from people. Honestly, I always thought the people that collected all, like, the physical media, you know, like the Blu-rays and the DVDs, became outdated and very soy. But seeing stuff like this, I totally understand it. I still remember a fair few months ago, before they rebooted the 28 Years Later franchise, they actually removed the original 28 Days Later, which is a great film, by the way. Definitely go watch it. They removed it everywhere off all streaming services while it was switching hands. I mean, the people that had the physical media, they could watch it. Anyone else, they couldn't do it legally. I mean, as well, this comes around the same time that GTA 6 is releasing a physical version of the game with no actual disc. So again, you will own nothing and you will be happy.
Yeah, maybe I should go back to torrents. Oh, God. I don't know. Like, maybe I should go back to VPN. I don't know. The more I play this, the less I think it's very good. I'm glad I own it, and I think it's going somewhere. But it's so third party and so janky and so clunky that I'd rather play Mortal, I think. It's just like, I don't know, something about it. It's so janky for so many different reasons. I like this game, but it's still not polished enough. Maybe in a couple of years. At this point, I'd rather play New World or like. Oh, did we finish our format? Oh, good. Okay, the format's finally done, huh? Close. Okay, so cool. There's my D drive back. Hopefully. I will put my copy of backups back on it because I just want a copy of this everywhere. It's like it's my whole master file with everything in it. D games. No, there was nothing there. You kept the file structure, did you? No. Yeah, it's all right. And then paste this thing and put it back on the D drive. Yeah, and I want I want 2 copies of my backups. It's so janky, and the frames aren't that good, and the graphics aren't that good, and the combat's not that good, and it's like it's not as good as New World, which is a game that already died that I spent 2,000 hours in. I don't know why I would spend this one. The game's playable to me, and it is fun. It's a fun game. Oh, also, now that the D drive's done, I think I want to go back to the Xbox, which I thought I had pinned to taskbar, but I guess not. I want you. Let's go to my library. Oh, we got this installed, did we? That's good. I put this on my F drive, did I? Yeah, this must have like installed. I like this game. It's free. It's not going anywhere. Oop. Oh, oh. It is obvious I need the frames to be like a lot of it is not, the game's not playing well with others. And that's another thing, it's really not playing too well with others, and it's not GeForce Now and all these other problems with it. But I did like the Revisit. I think it is a good game, but it's like, I don't know, it needs a lot more work than where it is right now. This is a good game. I like this game, but I don't. But it, you know, it reminds me of that game, Darkfall. I don't think it has enough polish. I think it's like kind of a Euro trash, Euro jank, like barely playable game. It's repetitive, but that's just the tutorial. They say it gets better once you start playing the game. That the game isn't like the tutorial. This is on the other side of the wall. So annoying. Oh, no, never mind. It's too janky. It reminds me of an old PlayStation 2 game. Somebody really cares about this MMO and is trying. Combat's not that good. Oh, that does heal you. Nice bandages heal you. It's so close to being good, but it's not optimized. The graphics aren't that good. The combat's not that good. I have these problems with early access games like this, where it's like, God, you're so close to good. Gwynfall's so close to good. It's so close. It's got boats and bases and metas and stuff, and it's got like everything in there that should be there. But the combat kind of sucks. The graphics kind of suck. The engine kind of sucks. It doesn't play well with others and all these other fucking problems, you know. I like Ori Victus, but if I loved myself, I would just uninstall it, honestly. I think the smalls are worth more, but the Scout BSC is worth a lot. I'm looking at a character. I don't know why I would play this game over even like New World. Like sometimes I think I should just be playing New World, even if it does end in like 6 months. Could play another Like do an Iron Man run maybe, since I don't ever plan on being a party ever again, and just set up like heavy heal staff and then like a bunch of other different weapons and stuff. It would be fun and just self heal. Oh, the graphics are just not that good. Like, I don't know. I have an issue with the graphics. Playing such an ugly ass game, frankly. And this is all the settings turned up. Occasionally it looks really good, but other times it doesn't. It really doesn't. Let's go to medium and turn off the shadows completely and turn the grass up. Anything else that I don't care about? Yeah, like, I don't know, SSAO and model, medium, normal, motion blur, to field apply. Yeah, I want frames. This isn't frames. That SSAO, I didn't know, but it's actually like the best setting, I guess. Yeah, this whole NI adaptation thing. The shader quality is at high normal. I want maximum anisoptric and maximum that, and then try that. Yeah. There, the game looks a bit better now, like a little bit more acceptable now, like a little bit more playable. Oops, did I pass the target? Yeah, I did. When you get out into the world, it becomes a PvP game, which I'm not interested in this sort of milsim PvP. If I was, I'd play Mountain Blade Warband. I'm not interested in this sort of whatever. This Siege stuff, I'm not that interested in it. Yeah, so you can tell the game's not that fun. It's too janky and old and shitty like Darkfall. I think I'll stop here. It's unfortunate, but like, yeah, this isn't my game. I can see the jank, and I'm just not that into it. I'm sorry, I'd rather play New World than this. And New World's a dead game. But I had my visit. You know, it was fun. I like the game, but it's not something I can play every day. I did try to support the game though, and I'm happy about that. Oh, good. My D file is back up where it should be, and I can put some games on it again. Where did you install this? The F drive? Can we move this install? Can we manage it? Files, browse, change drive. I want to change drive. Can we change this to D? Can you move this? Yeah, move this. And then what else? I guess we're gonna get on the Accursus. I don't know what to main after Eve. Like, it's not Rust because it resets my work. It's not 76 because I'm done and I'm burned out on it. Same thing with 7 Days. I need some MMO or survival game in the background that I can focus on, that I play all the time, that I can make money, that I don't really have to work at very much. Coming up here in 3 days, Mortal gets an expansion and starts an NA server, and I think I'm probably going to try that. Maybe No Man's Sky or Skull and Bones. I don't know. I think No Man's Sky is better than Skull and Bones, but it has so many fucking problems. It's a console game. Yeah, I like the starship battles though. I think they're actually really good because you lock on and it's got really good controls and stuff, and it is actually pretty fun. Got good graphics too. Could start a new hardcore character, I suppose. No, there's this problem where you end up like disenchanting everything, just farming and disenchanting and farming and disenchanting, and it's got crappy clunky controls and stuff. Maybe Grand Theft Auto, but I mean I know what that is. It's just a bunch of dailies and trying to build the empire further. It's not a good enough gameplay loop once you understand it and you've finished it. And I'm pretty much finished. The only thing left is the mansion. It was fun to visit though. How is Scum doing on the I haven't played Scum in a little while. Maybe try Scum. I don't really like Scum that much. Search for Steam DB. This monitor is so much better because you can see like across way better. So looking for Scum, see how that's doing. Scum charts are 13,586, which is not that bad, and 68,000 all-time peak. Yeah, this game never did that well. Going to the store and looking at the reviews. Sleepo wants to access the services on this. The store is steampower.com. Allow, sure. It says 24, an old player, because you've been playing it for 2 years. Yeah. Yeah, this was a run simulator, yep. Dune Awakening is an option. They made a single player. But I know Funcom can't design. Oh, the sun came out. A little bit. Yeah, the sky cleared up. Maybe I should go walking. Oh, let's get this thing killed. No, I know this isn't a good game. I'm not buying it. I played it before. Hmm.
You noticed it too, haven't you? We've been exposed to controversies and warnings and just nonstop bad news our entire lives, but
Complete bullshit.
this hits different. Beneath all of these chaotic headlines that we see every single day, it just feels
It's like
something
resignated,
bigger is
something's
happening.
wrong,
Do me a
yeah.
favor. Try and think of just one general thing in your life that has improved in the last 10 years. Has your quality of healthcare improved? How about
Yes, my quality of healthcare improved with the fat drug and sleep medication, and I broke my clavicle. I smacked my head into the pavement on a moped, and they fixed that. They fixed my clavicle and my shoulder and stuff. My healthcare is good. I got on disability, but I think I was supposed to do that when I was much, much younger. So I don't like hating on the government anymore because my bread and butter comes from them. And so, but I talk shit about the leadership. The leadership is fucking horrible. But the government themselves, I don't hate them anymore like I used to. But the leadership, the government, I used to think they're like, oh, CIA assassins that killed Martin Luther King and all this stuff. But that's actually the leadership. The leadership did that terrible shit. The government itself is actually just this organization that's meant to like make sure that the people's lives are at least livable, I think. And I don't have an issue with them anymore. I do have an issue with the leadership taking us to war all the time, and the war stuff scares me, and I'm scared another 9/11 is going to happen. And I'm scared another, world war is going to happen, and I'm scared that that world war is poverty, and I think the poverty is here, and I think they're just going to keep stealing, and I don't think they care. And by they I mean rich people. And so yeah, there's a war against the rich, I think, and that's why I'm so why I feel so foreboding, because they are us. They are us, just like people of color, just like trans people. Rich people are people just like everybody else. So you must treat them with the same according respect. But we don't do that. We target them, etc., the same way they target trans. And now I'm just like, I don't want to defend them. I'm just saying that, like, writing it all off and acting like it's all over and being all doomer about it is kind of scary to me.
Your quality of education, your cost of living, your insurance coverage.
The cost of living went up, the insurance went up, the privacy went down. Those things weren't good.
Privacy, your freedom.
Something was in the water. I don't know what it is, but I drank Denver tap water, and I swear to God, something was in the water. I think they gave us a disease one time that made me and my best friend sick for my best friend and I sick for like 3 weeks, and we were like puking the fucking sink, and we were just out of it. And then he stopped getting colds, and he was prone to colds and mononucleosis and all this. He had mono when he was young, and it damn near killed him, and he was prone to colds, but but then after that disease, he and we never got colds ever again. We never got flus ever again. He told me that it was some kind of crazy rhinovirus, and he thought it might be the swine flu. And he thought we had the swine flu, because he was like, I've never been this sick, and I've never seen flus come on this strong. We were stuck in the house for 3 weeks. He almost lost his job, but he was so sick. He had the doctor's notes to prove it. And it was just insane. And ever since then, I've not had a cold, have I? You guys have been watching my stream for 5 years, and I caught COVID, but I haven't had a cold. I haven't had a flu. I haven't had a headache. Whatever it was, like, I don't know, something. And I swear to God, that stuff was in the water. I think the flu they gave us was in the water. I think the lead they gave us was in the water, in the pipes. I think drinking water from pipes is actually a really bad premise, actually. And that's why I do bottled water now. And I don't know, I hate the plastic of bottled water. It's so wasteful. But I mean, I like bottled water, and there's all these things. So I think the quality of the water went down. The quality of the food definitely went down. Like, I remember Wendy's era 2005. It was so fucking good. You had to worry about going back there the next day because you couldn't resist it. It was so fucking good. Taco Bell in 2004. Was so fucking, like, the year 2000, they were so fucking good. We were eating like 3 chalupas a day or something like that. And the food is just not good, and the fast food is not good anymore. It's triple the price. I remember when it got to be double the price, we stopped buying it. By triple the price, we just don't go there anymore. Like, I'll go there like once a month or something, because I'm craving the food that they would serve me 25 years ago. I'm like, oh, it's the same old McDonald's, or the same, well, not McDonald's, but same old Wendy. I don't eat McDonald's, but same old Wendy's, same old Taco Bell. And like, no, Wendy's and Taco Bell are not the fucking same thing they were 25 years ago. None of this stuff is. privacy. After 9/11 and the fucking Patriot Act, I just don't trust the leadership, and I don't think they trust us. And that's fine.
Do you have more time to do what you want to do today than
Yes, I do, but that is because I'm essentially retired. I mean, I work full time, but I'm essentially retired in the respect that I don't have to go out in a taxi cab and chase money anymore, as I did for like 13 years. Either in a taxi cab or an Uber or my car, I would go out and I would chase money in the form of deliveries of people, deliveries of food, deliveries of whatever it was. I was a delivery boy like Philip J. Fry. And so, has it improved since then? Yes, because my personal circumstances were, and the government told me this, they're like, you should have been on disability your whole life. You just didn't apply till you were old. And I was like, oh, okay. But so my personal circumstances changed, but nobody else's around me did. My mother is struggling the most she ever has. My aunt is struggling the most she ever has. My best friends are struggling the most they ever have. Like, the prices have not gone down, the middle class has died, and there's all these problems and stuff. Now, do I think it's going to get worse? No. As crazy as it is, there could even be another 9/11. I still don't think it'll be as bad as it was then, because we've been through it before now. We've been through it before now, and if something bad happens, I think we'll be better at it, more graceful in the tragedy or whatever it is. If something like war or 9/11 happens, it won't be like Vietnam and 9/11, because we had never seen a Vietnam. We had never seen a World War II or a World War I or in Afghanistan. Now we have. We've seen all 5 or 6 of those things, and not to say that war made it better or makes it okay. We're just, stronger. We're like stronger and less likely to break down. Society's less likely to break down. So I'm less freaked out about our current like looming problems than I've ever been about other problems in my life, because those things are like, oh, we've never experienced this before, so we're fucking scared. We're like fucking scared. We're like 9/11, we've never been through this before. We're fucking scared. What do we do? Right? We don't have that anymore. We've been through almost all of it. We've dropped the bomb. We've been in war. We've been bombed by our own people and false flagged and stuff. We've been Pearl Harbored. It just goes on, and like I don't know, like these things, they don't scare me as much as they used to. I think we're just gonna put our fucking heads down and truck through and get by. I'm sure the right wing would agree with me, but the leftists would probably not. But I do have this cautious optimism based off the fact that we're these war grizzled veterans now, that like we may not be so like fucked up over the next mass attack or the next war or the next Nicolas Maduro or the next fucking, Supreme Leader or the next Alex Preddy or Nicole Good. Like, just the next ICE problem. So we're ready to deal with tragedy now, and that makes us stronger, so I fear it less. The real problem with the last bit of tragedies, they were all original things that we hadn't dealt with before, but now I don't think we're going to face something like that anymore. What could they do? The next step up would be a nuclear bomb on Washington. That would have to be what happens to actually phase America. Do I believe they'll do that? No, I don't think they will. I think they're actually scared of us, and I'll tell you why. Even if they were to nuke Washington, D.C., that wouldn't be New York. So New York would band together, L.A. would band together, they would take over the leadership of the country, and they would run this country. And we would get back on our feet, and we would come back, and we would smack whoever did it to us. And they know that if they were to try to do that, we would just come back and spend the rest of our lives trying to kill them. So that's why it doesn't happen. It's retaliation, and it sucks. But I mean, I wrote a paper in college about this. The real secret about nuclear proliferation is the fact that you have nuclear missiles makes it so you don't have to use them, because you know that you will retaliate, your friends will retaliate. It's like a Mexican standoff. And so the whole ethos and reasoning behind nuclear proliferation is, if I can't have it, you can't have it. And I've talked about this on stream before. But so the reason that we don't get nuked is because they know we'll nuke back, and they know that they can't get out of it, and they know they're like, no, we're fucked if they drop a bomb on Washington D.C. We're fucked. We lose the leadership, most of them, right? So that yeah, they could do that, and that would fucking suck. It would fucking suck. But no, the rest of the Americans would just band together, form a new Congress, form a new presidency, and be back up again within 5 weeks and ready to fight whoever did this to us or whatever. That they know what we'll do. We'll just nuke their main city, and that's gonna be like whatever it is. It could be Moscow, Tokyo, it could be fucking London, it could be fucking Paris or Madrid, it could be anything. It could be any major fucking city to just shut down their whole country too. Now almost every other country, well, I could pretty much every other country in the fucking world that I can think of would not handle that well. They'd be shut down. You know what I'm saying? They wouldn't be shut down, but they'd be shut down more than us. And so I don't know. So nuclear war doesn't really serve anybody because the retaliation is certain. From our friends, there would be retaliations. They would just nuke. And so this is the thing. This is why nukes to me are off the board, because the whole Mexican standoff thing actually prevents nukes. And this is why I think the fucking Manhattan Project exists, is because I think they kind of, like, they foresaw that that's how it would go. Once everybody had like city busting abilities, they wouldn't use it because then they would get their cities busted, and that's the whole point. It's supposed to de-escalate a world war situation, but really what all did is it just sponsors a bunch of fear. So, but I'm not scared of a nuclear attack. I'm not scared of economic collapse. We're not poor. We keep telling ourselves we're poor. We keep raising the prices and causing deprivation on the streets like we're poor. But we're not fucking poor. We're not poor. We're not poor as a country. That money is in bank accounts all over this country and in the Cayman Islands and stuff. We are not fucking poor. We're not poor. They'd have to steal the money for us to be poor. And it's just, I'm not going to be able to do that. We did not stop dumping all of our money into the military, so I'm not really worried about the military not being good enough. There's all these things that I'm supposed to be scared of, but I'm not, because we're seasoned vets now. We've been through in my life, I've been through 9/11, the Patriot Act, Afghanistan, 23 years of a forever war, COVID, and fucking in Donald Trump, and Donald Trump's like a natural disaster too. All the corruption that Trump brought to the presidency was like a natural disaster. It's that fucking bad. All those fucking things, they still don't cause me to live in fear. I lived in fear right after 9/11 for like 5, 10, 15 years, something, till 2016 or something, 2015, something like that. And then the video game MMORPG community and the industry collapsed tits up in 2015, and that affected me, and I just gave up on it all, and I fell down to the streets, and I smoked drugs, and I just chased a girlfriend and just tried to live a personal life where I didn't have video games to play. I wasn't politically affiliated. I wasn't worried about falling down to the streets. I wasn't worried about forever wars, because that's going to happen anyways, and all this stuff. But now we're supposed to feel fear. I know that's what he's going to say, and it's this apprehension. And I have fear and apprehension that my mother might not have enough money to get by, or that my friends might not have enough money to get by, or that I might have to go fight weird, shitty right-wingers at Civil War, or that I might have to go fight crazy foreigners in sovereign war, people trying to take over our country and stuff like this. And I'm supposed to feel fear about all that. I think all the young men and all the right-wing and all the fucking idiots and all the little Eichmanns, they all feel fear about that, and they beat the drums all day long. But in my experience, living in fear is not productive to almost anything. And this goes back to things that I've taught on my stream for a couple of years now, which is like negative emotions are a thing that you sign up for, that are like a bad cell phone contract to keep you bound when you really don't want it. And you sign up for these things on purpose when you don't need to. And it brings a lot of chaos and negativity and shittiness to your fucking life. But it's not necessary. It's not necessary to live like that. It's not necessary to be negative. It's not necessary to live live in fear. It's not even necessary to watch the news or even be aware that this shit is going on. And no, I'm not suggesting that's what you do. It's good to be self-aware and aware of the world and stuff, but it's not, and be aware of what your country's doing. But like overall, it's not really necessary to freak out about all this stuff. And a lot of the times I just sort of push off the politics these days even more than I used to. But I mean, I'm a very political person. For a while there, I was up watching Hassan every day, looking at the Battle of Los Angeles and going to protests and stuff. And after a while, I realized that I had been politically activated again when I'm like mid 40s and I'm taking care of a family member full time and I'm taking care of a stream full time. And it's not something that should be required from a 45-year-old man. Now, if I was 25, I'd be at every protest and I'd be up in the DSA or whatever, the Democratic Socialist Association or whatever. I'd be up in the DSA, like throwing bombs and trying to shut down the right wing if I was 20 years younger. But I'm 45. I'm worried about my mother. I'm worried about myself. I just went through heroin and meth addictions and 2 years in the madhouse or the mental health facility of Denver's David Place, which is an inpatient mental health facility for people facing long stints in jail. I was facing a long stint in jail. They told me it was going to be 10 years and they kept me for 4.5 years and then they reset my probation for another 5.5. And I've just been through so much shit lately that I just don't want to care about this negative stuff or feel doom or gloom about it. So I'm going to get off the video. It's why I talked so vehemently here for the last like 10 minutes and stuff. Is this guy, he's going to say the richest country is pretty mid now. And I get what he's after. And I think this is a really high quality video actually. And I wish I could watch it. But it is doomer. It's somebody my age. Actually, he looks older than me. It's somebody doomer. He's like 50 and he is doomer. And that's weird because I know after 9/11 that the world's there has to be a morning after. There has to be a morning after. I know it. Even if they were to drop nukes on all the major cities, I don't live in a major city. So then maybe Bellingham becomes king and maybe Seattle dies and Bellingham becomes king. Who knows? Maybe it would personally benefit me if they nuked all of our major cities and made all the smaller towns like Austin and fucking, like Austin. Well, not Austin. Austin's not a good example. Corpus Christi or Bellingham, or in Colorado it would be like Fort Collins or I don't know, the smaller areas outside the major metros. Let's say the Putins and the North Koreans of the world decide that they've got to build a pact and stop America from playing world police all the time. So they all just form a coalition called BRICS and then they fire nukes at all of our cities. Now the right wing goes, oh my God, that's my worst nightmare. Why are you saying it? And I'm like, well, I'm not though, because it would benefit me. It wouldn't benefit me because I'd probably die of radiation sickness if the bomb went off 2.5 hours away in Seattle, which is, I don't know, 100 miles or something. I'm going to get sick. The poison's going to affect me and I'll probably die within 10 years or something. That's what radiation does. I don't think that happened in Japan. I think if you were 100 miles from Hiroshima, would you get sick and die? I don't think it was like that. If people got sick, but they wouldn't die. So I'll probably get some mutations of sickness, but I don't think I'll die right away. And so, but that could personally benefit me where suddenly my city becomes the new Seattle. And, Fort Collins or Boulder becomes the new Denver. And Boulder lives just barely because it's 36 miles away. It's just outside the bubble, right? Maybe Boulder becomes the new Denver. And then people living in these small towns become king when, all these city folk who got us in all these shitty-ass fucking wars overseas for no fucking reason so they could steal oil and suppress, the Middle East and suppress Russians and suppress Ukrainians and suppress everybody. Suppress Nicolas Maduro, suppress fucking Venezuela, suppress Greenland, suppress Canada and all this stupid-ass stuff. So what do they do in return? They come back and they nuke all our major cities. Problem solved. Every last rich man is in a major city. Maybe a few rich leadership are out in Breckenridge or Vail doing some vacation or visiting family or something like that. But most of, it comes to designated survivors at that point. And guess what? I will be a designated survivor unless they drop a bomb on Bellingham, which I just don't really see why. It's like the downtown of Bellingham is maybe 4 blocks. It's like 4 blocks. There's no real reason you would nuke Bellingham. So I feel very good about where I live and all this other stuff. And so I don't see the fear mongering as serving our people or YouTube or anything like that. It's like he wants people to live in war and live in fear that their country might be mid now and everybody's only going to live for suffering and stuff like this. Yes, that is the case. That is the truth. That is what's going to happen. Once you've accepted it, you don't need to talk about it and freak out about it and scare others with it anymore. That's called paranoia. You don't want paranoia. You don't want paranoia. You don't. It just ruins your life. If you live in fear, they say fear is the mind killer because it does. It removes all of your other fucking what is it called? Faculties, and makes it so you can only focus on what's scaring you in the moment. This guy wants to scare us, like, and give us this existential dread, this almost Sartre. Sylvia Plath existential dread of being like, everything sucks, we're all mid now, everybody's dumb, everybody has a bad education, everyone's brain rotted, including me, everybody's watching YouTube, everybody's like this. It's just insane. And I don't know what to say about all that. I just know that it's doomer to give up, and I know that dwelling on it isn't helpful, and I don't think his video is helpful. That's all I have to say about this. Nope, let's get into this thing. Go activate Shigai pawn. Let's humor him further
than you did in 2016. On this day, 1 decade ago, the Dow Jones closed at around 18,000 points. Since then, it has skyrocketed, closing today at 51,000 points. So congratulations, unless of course your quality of life is not 2.83 times better. In that case, I made a video for you to watch. But this video isn't about evil CEOs or how capitalism and wealth inequality are out of control. You probably already knew those things.
Yeah, we know this stuff.
This is a
I thought it was. I thought you were going to do a video about that.
Theory. Maybe a conspiracy theory, but a theory nonetheless that I've been sharing and discussing and refining for years. For you, it's merely some lenses that you can try on when reading your newsfeed. It's an introduction to what comes after capitalism, something I can only call leveragism.
All my life I was looking for a sign. Wasn't sure where to find.
I don't think I can listen to this song. Leveragism, a palliative guide to capitalism.
Capitalism on paper is dependent on economic and technological growth. On paper, the idea is that everybody gets a slice of the pie, and if we make a really, really, really big pie that keeps growing, then everybody can get fat. And not only is that example kind of a literal one when we look at the American obesity epidemic, but capitalism also led to agricultural innovation and global supply chains and wealth creation in developing countries that played a huge part in decreasing global hunger. It's worth recognizing that in 1970, 1/3 of the people on this planet were starving, and now that number is down to about 8.2%. How much of that achievement can be awarded to capitalism can be debated, but ignoring that this drop in famine happened in a time when all but 4 countries rely on a capitalist structure would be disingenuous. Let's revisit that on paper part. So, like, even if we limit our examples to Coca-Cola, who I seem to frequently use for economic examples for some reason, capitalism leads to a lot of evil shit. In 1954, Coca-Cola financially and politically supported a CIA-backed military coup of Guatemala. Then, in the early 2000s, Coca-Cola was suspected to have hired right-wing paramilitary death squads to assassinate union leaders. Coca-Cola is the #1 top plastic polluter in the world, despite their constant marketing of their sustainability goals. They've caused water shortages in Latin America and India by depleting local aquifers. They have bottling partners that have been repeatedly accused of human rights violations and suppressing union organization. They have Israeli franchises that have sourced their resources from occupied Palestinian territories, which is considered illegal under international law. Is the existence of capitalism the problem here? Most progressive people would answer that question with a resounding yes. I think it's debatable. I would argue that most of these things that Coke did violate the rules written by capitalist governments, and the problem is greed, which is a byproduct of jealousy. Since capitalism is frequently associated with hoarding more resources than your neighbors, we tend to associate capitalism with being a douchebag.
I think I will pause this, and I will go out and try to get my 2-hour walk done. I didn't want to go out while it was overcast. I was hoping it would burn off like this, and so I'm going to go get the sun.
And that's totally...
I'm sorry, guys. I don't mean to bail on you. But yeah, we will kill this, and I guess I'm out right now. Or, well, I'm going to go out, but I'm going to wait 5 minutes here while I finish this site here.
fair. So much so that we even get popular memes and fake Karl Marx quotes like, "There is no ethical consumption under capitalism," which is a completely sane and reasonable thing to shout at lemonade stands and farmers markets. The reason I'm discussing this to begin with is to highlight what American capitalism means on paper, and how apparently nobody has seen that paper in decades. One thing that I regret not covering enough in my last video was what happened between the Great Depression and the 2000s. Let's go back to 1933, and I think we need a whole tone scale for this. Hey, I'm in 1933. Shit sucks. Nobody has any money. I've been eating shit like dandelions and potato soup and a bunch of poorly thought out ways to eat hot dogs. All this happened because a bunch of people got really greedy and borrowed more money than they could ever pay back and invested it in wheat. What is the deal?
I've been eating a lot of sausage and potatoes. I feel like I'm right back in the 30s. I've been eating sausage and potatoes. I'm not poor. I think I'm so much better off than the people in the 1920s. Because we have the internet, we have power, we have electricity, we have light, we have LED light, we have, efficient light, we have efficient power, we have efficient everything. Refrigerators, microwaves, cars, I want my MTV and all that Dire Straits stuff. And I don't think we have it worse. I just don't. All the time I have to tell myself, just be thankful for what you got.
Franklin D. Roosevelt's administration was both aware of capitalism's potential to increase the American quality of life, but also its potential to cannibalize itself. And it is truly remarkable to me that nearly 100 years ago, they saw the exact same mechanism that's playing out today. And this was at a time when some of your baseball watching and apple pie eating Americans were still on the fence about communism, and they had solid representation via the CPUSA. A lot of American citizens believed that the Soviet Union was a rising egalitarian society that was immune to the Western economic crisis that they were experiencing. The New Deal took this into serious consideration and ultimately wasn't about social services or directly addressing wealth inequality like the Soviet Union, but instead about sticking to the whole freedom thing and redefining capitalism in a way that would allow Americans to organically solve these problems using their own capitalist motivations. All of this kicked off with the Glass-Steagall Act of 1933. No longer would a commercial bank that provided consumer and business loans be allowed to deal with, underwrite, or invest in private securities, and investment banks would no longer be able to take consumer deposits. So to give you an example, JP Morgan was forced to start a separate business for all the risky stuff, and that eventually became Morgan Stanley. This act also created the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, or FDIC. This guaranteed that if you had money in a commercial bank and that bank failed or went out of business, you would be guaranteed reimbursement up to a specified limit. All of this, combined with a whole lot of historically progressive labor laws and a tiny little skirmish called World War II, set America up to make the most savvy financial move in the history of trade. You know those crazy conspiracy stories where the elite Illuminati members will meet up somewhere in the woods and decide how they'll control the world? That actually kind of happened. And to some degree, the economic fate of you and your family was decided in that meeting. Towards the end of the Second World War in July of 1944, delegates from 44 Allied nations met in Bretton Woods, New Hampshire, with the goal of designing and negotiating a post-war financial system. At the time, pretty much the entire world was economically devastated, but due to our size and geographic isolation, American soil was mostly untouched by the war. We also held between 70 and 80% of the world's gold reserves and were easily the largest manufacturing economy on the planet. The Bretton Woods Compromise offered a way that countries could facilitate international trade with a trusted currency without having to lug literal bars of gold everywhere. The United States pegged the US dollar strictly to gold at a fixed rate of $35 per ounce, and it was guaranteed that any foreign bank could turn in $35 and receive a physical ounce of gold from Fort Knox. Then every other nation in this agreement pegged their individual currency to the US dollar, which was then used exclusively for trading commodities such as oil with one another. Normally, if a country spends more money than it takes in, their currency and spending power would devalue, which would cause domestic inflation. But now, the world would need to use US dollars to conduct any form of trade, and over time, the US started printing more and more dollars to import commodities like consumer goods and oil from other nations without having to worry about the US dollar losing value. Another advantageous side effect of this was a unique type of stagnation. While watching America go on a shopping spree, other nations realized that their US dollars would lose value just sitting in a vault somewhere, so their safest option at the time was to buy US Treasury bonds. This created and inflated an extraordinary global demand for US government debt, allowing us to borrow money for absurdly low interest rates to fund our infrastructure and become the most powerful military in the history of the world. By the late 1960s, the world started losing confidence in this system. Economists like Milton Friedman and Robert Triffin saw this as a flawed and dangerous economic rule set. One of the US gold standard's sharpest critics was French President Charles de Gaulle, who frequently publicly condemned the monetary system, calling it an exorbitant privilege. And de Gaulle called the US out on their bluff and demanded to trade massive amounts of US dollars for American gold. Between 1963 and 1966, 24 secret boat trips supervised by the French Navy and several flights crossed the Atlantic Ocean, carrying back a total of 3,313 tons of gold from America. This would be worth nearly $500 billion today. After printing and spending incredibly reckless amounts of money on the Vietnam War, the American government knew that the jig was up. The wild conspiracy theory that the American dollar wasn't actually in parity with American gold was now a frequent public discussion by international leaders. Nobody knows how far out of parity gold and US dollar was, but it wouldn't exactly be a stretch of the imagination to think that if England or Japan or any other large nation decided to cash in their currency like France did, there'd be no more gold left to give them. So instead, on August 15th, 1971, President Nixon addressed the nation and told Americans that they were, in fact, the victims of the Bretton Woods Agreement.
The speculators have been waging an all-out war on the American dollar. I have directed the Secretary of the Treasury to take the action necessary to defend the dollar against the speculators.
He ambiguously villainized and referred to West Germany and Japan as international speculators and accused them of creating economic crises to rob money from Americans. He drew vague parallels between himself and Franklin D. Roosevelt, and he announced a New Deal of his own. In order to protect Americans from these international speculators, the US dollar, the currency in which world trade almost exclusively took place, would no longer be backed by gold or anything tangible.
If you are among the overwhelming majority of Americans, your dollar will be worth just as much tomorrow as it is today.
Over the next few years, the inflation rate of the US dollar doubled, and the US and most of the Western world entered into a severe recession. OPEC, or the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, tried to price oil against gold to create international economic stability, but this led to even less stability. This made previous oil production complications much worse, and oil prices quadrupled from $3 per barrel to $12 per barrel overnight. And by the end of the decade, crude oil prices skyrocketed by roughly 1,000%. As a result, gas stations could no longer afford to resupply their storage tanks, and in many places, Americans would spend entire days waiting to fill up their vehicles. In the North, many people reverted to heating their homes with wood-burning stoves, and in an effort to save fuel, Nixon ordered that the maximum speed limit be set to 55 miles per hour nationwide. This led to truckers going on strike, and they started coordinating via citizen-band radios, inventing their own slang and terms to confuse law enforcement. Many of those who were on strike spent their time slashing tires, shooting trucks, and dropping cinder blocks from bridges on non-participating truck drivers. More than a few people were killed over these disputes, and the entire country suffered enormous supply chain disruptions. And then Nixon had another one of his brilliant ideas. In 1973, he signed a bill extending daylight savings time to last the entire year. As violent crime rates rose to the highest point in recorded American history, and children walked to school in total darkness because there was not enough fuel for their school bus, Americans rightfully started wondering if the people in charge had no fucking idea what they were doing. But it would turn out that some people, like Treasury Secretary William Simon, did know what they were doing. He would take top-secret trips to Saudi Arabia to negotiate another deal that would give the American economy the asymmetrical leverage it needed to become whole again. In 1974, the US and Saudi Arabia quietly forged an alliance. It was not announced to the public or foreign leaders, but was conducted as a highly calculated and secretive economic handshake. The Saudi kingdom, who was by far the top oil producer in the world, agreed to price and sell every drop of its crude oil exports exclusively in US dollars. And because the entire world needed oil to industrialize, every nation on Earth was suddenly forced to build up massive reserves of US dollars just to continue operating. But it gets far more calculated than that. The United States now had by far the most powerful military in the world, as it was subsidized by previously printing money in excess of their own previous gold standard. and the US agreed to give the Saudi monarchy an ironclad security guarantee. The US would provide cutting-edge military hardware, training, and an implicit promise that the American military would intervene and protect the Saudi royal family and their oil fields from any threat. And in return, the Saudis agreed to recycle their excess oil profits directly back into the US economy by purchasing billions upon billions of dollars in US Treasury bonds. And in this same decade, between 1970 and 1980, Saudi Arabia's GDP went from $4 billion to $164 billion. That's like earning $15 an hour at McDonald's, and within the next decade, earning $615 an hour at McDonald's. The GDP per capita in Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the UAE eclipsed the earnings of even the wealthy class of people in America and Europe. If you've ever watched footage showcasing insane, tacky levels of wealth in Dubai, now you know where that wealth originated. But for the context of this video, this creation of what is now called the petrodollar put America back on the chariot of asymmetrical leverage, while the rest of the world would have to, cut down forests and mine materials and make shit to sell.
If you're on the side of bringing manufacturing back to the U.S., this may be the most important argument I'll ever have to give you. The aforementioned insane amounts of privilege from the gold standard and petrodollar allowed America to outsource most of the things that we don't feel like doing. Mining, drilling, refining, working long hours in a factory. Instead of pilfering our natural resources and letting it degrade our citizens' quality of life, we instead adjusted our ties and thought of ideas and intellectual property that other countries could make for us to consume. Like, try and conceptualize this. I live on land that has a whole lot of iron and pyrite on it, and then we have a small river with virtually unlimited water just down there. But I live in an economic reality with so much privilege that not once have I ever considered digging up these resources and selling them. I literally live on a farm. I don't grow plants to sell, and I literally give my chicken eggs away to friends and neighbors, and if I have a big surplus, I just throw them at a tree and then the chickens eat them. Let's just use copper production as an example, as it's pretty much available everywhere on Earth. In Congo, an average of 6.8 tons of copper is extracted or processed per square miles. In China, it's an average of 6.5 tons. In Mexico, it's 1.76 tons. But here in America, with our vast, enormous copper deposits, it's 12 pounds of copper processed per square mile. Instead, we import the majority of the copper we use from other places so we can keep our land looking pretty and our air smelling clean. So when I hear billionaires squawking about bringing manufacturing and mining jobs back to the US and then advocating for the removal of immigrants who are willing to do those jobs, I think to myself, did they somehow miss the last 80 years of economic prosperity? Is it fucking possible that they don't understand how any of this works? Or is it entirely possible that they do understand how this works, and the problem is actually that too many Americans are too comfortable? And that probably sounds crazy, but stick with me, because first we need to philosophically understand leverage.
Leverage is a term frequently used by economists, although maybe not frequently enough. Studying leverage on an investment is about as fun as writing down thousands of metrics and using logistic regression to predict a fight instead of just betting against Jake Paul and then watching him get knocked unconscious and you winning $100 in the process. So you decide to rent a home in a small town where every house costs exactly $100,000 and you're saving up to buy one. I decided to move to the same town as well, but not just to live there. I'm going to try and make as much money as possible. I happen to have $100,000 in cash, so I buy a house. A year goes by, property value increases by 10%, and I sell the same house for $110,000, making 10% profit on my equity. But then I get a better idea. I take $100,000 from the sale of my house and use it as 5 $20,000 down payments on 5 houses. Another year of 10% value increase will earn me 50% return on investment. So why don't I do this in real life? Why don't I own dozens of properties? Well, because this isn't some sort of infinite money glitch, it's a high-risk maneuver. In fact, it's asymmetrical against me, because if those properties would lose 20% of their value before I sell them, then I would lose 100% of my investment and be broke. But there's a whole lot more to this. Long before George Soros was known for paying everybody in the world to be mean to Alex Jones and Donald Trump, he wrote a classic and important book called The Alchemy of Finance, which was published in 1987. This book introduced and popularized the theory of reflexivity, which is now arguably cited more in anthropology than it is in finance. Continuing with my pedantic little example here. As we all know, one of the few predictable things about housing markets is that they constantly fluctuate. And if I arrived to that town with millions or billions of dollars in capital to absorb absorb the housing market losing value, I'd be able to tip the scales in a way where I'm not as exposed to the asymmetrical risk. If I buy enough of these houses in this little town, I'm actually not only contributing to the increase in the appraised property value, but I'm able to maneuver the local economy to my benefit. I could perform a little magic trick called the dividend recap. I could create a shadow company and then sell the houses to myself far below their actual value. Then, when this causes comparable houses to be appraised at a lower value, I can buy them and rent them at higher prices until I create a housing shortage, which will then inflate the value for when I decide to sell them. By the way, none of this is hypothetical. This is exactly what Blackstone did via Invitation Homes after the 2008 financial crisis.
And Blackstone, for example, is now the largest owner of individual houses in the United States. And then we're renting them to people as opposed to selling them. It's a good business for us. It's a new thing, but it's also good for America. And it's good to be able to provide housing for those people who need it.
In fact, they built a highly sophisticated algorithm to scan real estate markets and intentionally overpaid for houses to price out families who wanted to live in them. Over the years, plenty of white papers commissioned by private equity firms openly detail these theories. They describe housing as a supply-constrained asset with inelastic demand that can systematically block the working class from building generational wealth through homeownership. Instead, this guarantees that workers' income can be siphoned back into Wall Street equity. In 2026, this is now commonplace in nearly every industry. Nearly every price tag you see is partially hypothetical, obfuscating the objective value that the commodity holds. The consumer sees a product, service, company, or rental property. Private equity sees a debt service. Let's visit another painful real-world example that you'll probably remember.
In 2004, Toys R Us and Babies R Us were profitable and, due to the real estate holdings, considered stable with a B+ rating by Standard & Poor. Their financial flexibility was rated as adequate, but due to big box stores like Walmart and Target, they needed to make some changes to remain that way. But then, KKR, Bain Capital, and Vornado Realty Trust smelled their favorite type of blood and took the company private. It didn't exactly take a clairvoyant to see that Amazon was going to be another big threat to Toys R Us, as they had just launched a dedicated toy warehouse, but Toys R Us had about $100 million per year to reinvest into growing an e-commerce platform that could compete against or integrate with Amazon. But instead, they used that money to leverage more debt. So much debt that nobody with a calculator could ever imagine them being able to carry it. So much debt, in fact, that the interest rates were 4 times higher than the $100 million they would otherwise be using to reinvest in growth. This massive pile of borrowed money would pay for over $470 million in management fees and dividend recapitalizations, not revitalizing the business. That's because this private equity buyout was never about making Toys R Us more profitable or selling more toys. It was about using the company as a debt service. For a long 12 years, the store downsized. Employees were underpaid and eventually terminated. Buildings once associated with children's Christmas gifts, acting as anchor stores for entire malls, now rotted as they sat vacant. And it's worth noting that these same vampiric shitbags did the exact same thing to KB Toys, Gymboree, and Sports Authority. It's almost as if they have a fetish for suffocating our child retail nostalgia. The transition from a growth-based economy to an authoritarian one is difficult when your life is part of it, but this...
Okay, guys, I'm sorry. I'm going to go walk for 2 hours here and get my 5 miles of exercise as the sun came out. So I'm sorry about the timing on that, but, I'll be back for a couple of hours here around 4:20, and so I will pause here. Hi, guys, I'm back. Oh, I'm going to open this window. It's a little bit stuffy in here. What's up? It is 4:47 p.m. I just walked for 4.76 miles before my feet got kind of too much, and just got to be too much. 4.76 miles, got a good walk and took a shower and stuff. And here we are. We're going live again. Put my headphones in. Hopefully they're full charged. Oh, I left my water over there. I'm going to go grab it real quick. I'll be right back. Yeah, loud. Okay. Oh no, what did I do with my water? There it is. Okay. It appears that this twist is finally out.
this started, the things I've mentioned in this video make me miss.
Good morning, guys. I'm still trying to wake up. As you can tell, maybe you can't, I don't know. I've been trying to make this video the last few days, and it's just, I have a little bit more pep in my step today, even after I woke up. But there's nobody around right now, so I figured let me do it now before more people show up, because this place has been popping the last couple days. I like hanging out at this spot because there's lots of greenery. I can walk around, I can sit on a bench and draw and eat, whatever. There's bathrooms. I like hanging out here. I can just sit in my car.
Yeah. Good to come to a place.
Weird lately. I'm trying not to like doom it up, but it does seem like every time I have a huge shift in my life and myself, there's a huge shift in the world that like counteracts it. Like my
Hey,
big
you wanna go
spiritual
outside?
awakening,
You can.
big one.
Okay.
And then quarantine and the pandemic happened. And last year I finally started to live in my car.
I'm coming.
And then I think there was a law passed in the United States, which it didn't seem, people made it a big deal at the time. That's the thing, like everything's such a big deal at first, and then it just kind of dies down. So I'm hoping that's what happens, but I also know that's not what is actually happening. Like all things are happening. Things are happening. Anyway, but there was some law, like if you're for the van lifers, car life, if you're homeless, whatever, you're living on the streets, you could be arrested and you could be put in streets.
Oops.
But there was some law, like if you're for the van lifers, car life, if you're homeless, whatever.
They don't want people outside their the grasp of control. They don't want that. We've known that for a long time. You gotta pay their taxes and pay their rent and pay their power and pay their water, because they have their hands in the tills of the registers of all of those things. And if you don't pay them, they send their best friend the pig to fucking evict you. And yep, but honestly, everybody pays. Everybody ends up paying them.
You're living on the streets. You could be arrested and you could be put in a hospital institution if they could say that you're crazy or you're unwell, which I guess they could always do that to people, but it was just kind of scary at first when I first moved into my car. It was just like, cool. I don't know. Anyway, and now I'm saving to get a minivan, right? Like that's my next big goal, to convert it into a camper, to have a better sleeping situation and whatever. And I like older cars. I want an older car. I don't like the new technology on cars. It's so, like, it's just funny how, like, we're not allowed to use our phones or, like, be hands-free when we're driving. But in newer cars, there's, like, huge computer screen that's so distracting. But now they're putting more ethanol in the gas, which is causing problems with people's older cars because they're running out of oil, so they have to put ethanol in it, but it causes problems to our cars. And not, but
yeah, my mom goes out every day. She uses her car, and I just have never done that my whole life. I only use my car when I have to. And I can see that way of life coming to an end. And I feel some sorrow that it's coming to an end. But I mean, I watch my ancestors spend with careless abandon, assuming eternal supply. That's Greg Gaffin from Bad Religion. And I mean, they assumed eternal supply, so they drove their cars every time they wanted to go get a meal. And that's not what cars are for. Cars are for getting from point A to point B.
They want us to get...
It's important for dating, marriages, and, you know, life events and stuff like that. It's good for getting to work. But beyond that...
newer cars.
It killed... The Carmageddon killed us. And yeah, they're going to start putting more ethanol so older cars break down.
So they can surveil us more, so they can control us, so we can be pushed into this new world more and more. It's just like, come on, dude. So I'm like, is it even worth it? I guess I should just prepare to not have anything anymore. Maybe I should just get rid of everything in my storage. Burn all my old journals, all my old pictures, because that's really the only like sentimental thing that I have that's any value to me. The rest of the stuff in storage, like I can just get rid of. Clothes and I don't know. There's so much shit in there right now. I just keep piling it up, and I need to organize it one day when it's cooler and when I have the energy. Anyway, so I've just been like bummed out. I'm like, what the fudge is happening? It's crazy. They're just squeezing us dry, and it's like we finally find solutions for ourselves, and it's like they take things away from us, and we're like, fine, we'll find a solution. We find a solution. They're like, no, can't have that. Take it away. Fine, we'll find a solution. Find a solution. No, take it away. It's like, oh my God. You know what? I also think too, like, what if I had a lot of money? Would it bother me that much to get like a newer car? Like, say I had the money to get a brand new car, but it's completely electric. Would that bother me as much? What if I had all the money to have a house? Like, what if I was rich? Would any of this bother me as much? And I feel like I would feel better about it, which makes... I'm just thinking about that more. Like, why would I feel better about being controlled and all this surveillance if I had more money? I don't, like, does anyone feel that way? Do you guys think about that? Will you think about that? Let me know in the comments. Like, would these things in the world bother you as much if you had more money? And then I just feel like I don't want more money. This is what I always struggled with. It's like, I don't want more money because I don't want to sell out in any way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Although I do want more money. I'm not putting that out there. I don't know. But if I had more money, I could also just keep buying older cars, let them just, the ethanol destroy them, and just keep buying them over and over. It's so ridiculous. Anyway, I just want to find ways to make it through. And yeah.
You can see if the girls are talking like this, we're fucked. To me, I see prophecy. I see a girl telling us that this isn't gonna work, you know? And it sucks. Like, this whole capitalist fucking coven of vampires that we have running, I don't think it's gonna work. If these are the victims, it's not gonna work.
I feel so fortunate to be back at this position that I'm in, to be living in my car again. I feel like I've asked for things to come back into my life, to return to my life, to have second chances, and I've never gotten it. And I know I never got it because I wasn't meant to have that ever again. I was meant for something different, something better. I changed, so my circumstances and the things that I'm creating and manifesting in my life are different. They're going to be different. I can't have second chances with, you know, past relationships or just past situations or other past jobs, things like that. Anything from the past. Just had to let them go and learn to be new. And now I feel very fortunate. This is the only thing I've gotten back, you know? And I know I know I wouldn't have it, and I wouldn't be here if I wasn't meant to have it. I know I'm meant to have it. Did that make sense? Sorry, I'm still trying to wake up. So there's something here, and I know, like, making videos, like, I've always had this passion to be more, to make my life more meaningful, to, like, help other people, to do something beneficial in this world and with my life and help other people in their lives. And so I feel like being in this position, because let's say, I talk about manifesting a lot. Let's say I did have all the money right now. How would that be a good example for people? Like, I want to help people who have gone through hard things and, like, help get you guys out of that and help expand your mindset, because it's all in the mind. It's not about material things. So I am manifesting a life where I'm moving through life by those words I just spoke. It's not about material things. It's all in the mind. And trying to pass that on to you guys and find a way, using myself as the example, as the way to show you or talk about it as best as I possibly can. And show you, like, I talk about this all the time. Like, I don't want to just have some fancy house and a fancy background and be like, look, I did it, so can you. Like, people don't believe in people like that. They don't believe it for themselves, and they don't know the whole background story. They don't know if people went into debt just to get those nice things, and now telling you, like, buy my course. I saw some meme that said, like,
That's it. That's what it is. It took me a minute to suss out what I saw. I saw pallid skin and the sign of an illness. When I went looking, I saw the word dialysis like 20 times. She's got kidney trouble. She's not long for the world. I liked and subbed. But she has this sort of soul sickness I don't wish to display on my channel. She comes by it honestly. On this site, if you set them both to guard, you can just run the site. You don't have to do anything.
Something very interesting happens once you hit your 30s.
Yeah, I believe I did let my identity die. I used to be this loud, angry, metal, punker, raver, skateboarder kid, and I splashed my personality across a bunch of things, music and drugs and video games. Now I think I'm a middle-aged, semi-alcoholic stoner who plays video games and makes streams. And that's not who I was 20 years ago. Or it wasn't even who I was 5 years ago. And I think I did let my identity die. I don't have any of the same friends. I do still have them as friends, and I would die for them. They're my brothers, but we don't speak very often. I don't have the same family. I have the same family with my mother, but that's it. Even my family's gone. I don't have the same city. I'm not even in the same city, and I don't have the same record. I don't have the same, for a long time, like 13 years, I had something pending or some kind of problem I was dodging or something. But now I'm completely, like, totally caught up with the law, and they have no issue with me. And it has been 4 years since I've even spoken to a police officer, I believe. 4.5? No, about 3.5 years since I've spoken to a police officer, and that was my parole officer the last time I saw him. Oh, I have a voicemail? Why do I have a voicemail?
It is this pressure.
Why do I have a voicemail? Did I miss a call? Voicemail. Visual voicemail on the 17th. No, this was... Wait, I want to go back to that, though, and put it on my desktop. Trying to put stuff on my cell phone desktop. Bear with me just a second, guys. No, I don't want to add a new device. I mean, maybe I do need to add my watch. I don't know.
This buildup that is uncomfortable to ignore. And we're trying to understand, what is it asking of you? Most often, it is a calling towards living authentically, to reach wholeness. Now, the question is, why do men at that age struggle with it? What's the holdup? Why do we get stuck in our past, in the stories that we've developed? And in the course of the last 10 years of not just teaching martial arts, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but coaching men in personal development, coaching kids, teenagers, elders, I've had the whole swath. And there's one thing that I've really noticed consistently, is that once you pass 25, that is when your real life starts to begin. Because your 20s are what? This is your persona development phase. And the persona is what you present to the world. The one different to you in your private life. The one you want people to see. And the sides of you don't want people to see, that you push away. Perhaps you weren't allowed to express, or maybe you just have never felt that you have the right to demonstrate these skills, or you're not worthy of it, or you're going to be laughed at. Whatever the case, it gets dumped into the unconscious. This is the era where you're building.
Oh, here we go. It did connect, though. Show me Wi-Fi's. Watch settings, huh? Maybe I have to do it on my watch. It's so annoying.
Your career, your business, your friends, your environment, your pretty much everything. It doesn't always have to be positive. It can be in the negatives as well. It's the era of coping strategies. You really start to fine tune. Your complexes really form and shape themselves, and they find a place in your ego. And they are able to now influence and dictate and decide what you think, do, or say, and then also masking your ability to cover up your emotions, especially for men, as emotions are very taboo and they don't want to be expressed too much other than just stoicism. And this also causes us to act a particular way in front of other people. But there's a reason why I work with men above 25, because this is the era of wholeness, where you begin to shed away the old stories that no longer serve you. And what do I mean by that? An old story could be that in order for you to be worthy, just worthy of existence, you must succeed at a high level. And if you don't succeed at a high level, then you're nothing but a bottom feeder. Loser, meant for nothing, just like a leper. Keep distance. You start to orient towards a more meaningful path. So not only was that story what you were pointing towards, you were trying to be X, Y, and Z because you felt unworthy deeply because of past experiences. And that was your story. That was your way to orient towards your North Star. But eventually, this loses its fuel. It starts to die. And you start to now you want to crave something more meaningful. You want to actually get up and move for something that you care about deeply, that you feel is bigger than you. Because the self, or the soul, as I like to say it, is calling you towards living fully. You see, the ego, the one we all live through for the most of our lives, is like a keyhole. I don't know if...
I'm going to get off this guy. I don't like him. And unsub on, honestly, after watching him for 5 minutes, I think he's full of shit.
Good evening, I'm Jeff Bennett.
And I'm Amna Nawaz. On the NewsHour tonight, emergency workers and civilians rush to find survivors in the rubble a day after 2 devastating earthquakes hit Venezuela.
We speak with Republican Governor Mike DeWine, who's criticized the Supreme Court ruling allowing the Trump administration to end temporary protected status for thousands of migrants.
And a new opera in Cincinnati celebrates the resilience and richness of the Black American experience for a new generation.
When are we going to have something in the operatic world that has the same impact on the opera world that Black Panther had on the movie industry? And that's the idea that kind of started the ball rolling in the Black Opera Project.
Major funding for the PBS NewsHour has been provided by the William and Flora Hewlett Foundation. For more than 50 years, advancing ideas and supporting institutions to promote a better world at hewlett.org. Friends of the NewsHour, including Jim and Nancy Bildner, and the Robert and Virginia Schiller Foundation. The Judy and Peter Bloom Kovler Foundation, upholding freedom by strengthening democracies at home and abroad. And with the ongoing support of these individuals and institutions. And friends of the NewsHour. This program was made possible by the contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.
Welcome to the NewsHour. A day after 2 of the deadliest earthquakes in Venezuela's history, the race to save lives is becoming a race against time. Rescue crews are digging through mountains of rubble, searching for survivors believed to be trapped.
More than 900 people are now confirmed dead and tens of thousands remain missing. As international aid teams rush into the disaster zone, the true scale of this unfolding crisis is only starting to emerge. Our Nick Schifrin starts our coverage tonight.
Today in Venezuela, the destruction is debilitating. Rescue workers drill through the damage to find the living still pinned down 2 days later. But in this tragedy, so many did not survive. The dead now line the road because the hospital morgue is full. The number of missing is overwhelming. Family members write the name of loved ones on a hospital door. And the missing are also listed online. This website includes more than 50,000 names. 83-year-old Ivan Martinez, siblings Crisander, Elvismar, and Antonea, Jaelis and her 2 children, Jorgelis and her son Jadiel. The grief and desperation feels insurmountable. Nazarieth Jimenez's brother and his entire family are somewhere under their now pancaked home.
My brother, my sister-in-law, my niece, my nephew, and friends are in there. I got here yesterday at 4 in the afternoon and nothing has happened. They haven't cleared anything. Where is the help? I don't see it.
Others have lost everything.
We kidnapped the help. You remember? The Americans kidnapped the help. He was a psychotic crazy man, but he was still the help. We kidnapped the help. Do you recall?
Yes, walks through the devastation and calls out for his missing wife and children. There is no response, and as he walks on the rubble in his sandals, there is no home left either.
More than 20 of my relatives have died. I've been left practically alone in this world. I am alone.
It is Venezuela's worst natural disaster in more than a century. Twin 7.2 and 7.5 earthquakes that crumbled buildings. The scenes from the capital Caracas, apocalyptic. And the most damage to La Guaira, north of Caracas. Entire blocks look like they've been blown apart. Entire buildings collapsed, the state now placed under military control. The damage appears worst closest to the coast. It looks like the city's been bombed, buildings blown open. The toll is immense. Caracas's hospitals are now overflowing. Many patients are being treated in the courtyard.
I grew up in Mexico alongside the Pacific Ocean, and I grew up with earthquakes. And this was something I have never experienced before. The magnitude, but also the length.
Beatriz Ochoa is the Norwegian Refugee Council's Latin America head of advocacy.
We just went under the frame of a bedroom. It was not stopping. I just felt like, this is it.
Already, before the earthquake, nearly 8 million Venezuelans, or more than 1/4 of the country, depended on humanitarian assistance, including food, water, and health. Now, people are sleeping on the street, either because they're homeless or too scared to sleep inside.
People need a safe place to sleep. People will need clean water. We don't want diseases to be spread. People need, at this moment, hot meals. And of course, children particularly will need to recover and to have a sense of normality.
How much need is there right now in the immediate aftermath of the earthquakes?
There is a lot of need. The country was already struggling. Recovering will be hard. And that's why we need support from all over the world so that people can recover sooner rather than later.
That support is beginning to show up. Search and rescue teams from Spain, as well as the United States and a handful of other countries, arrived today. And the U.S. military is beginning to deliver $150 million worth of humanitarian assistance, overseen by a 2-star Marine general.
We're helping Venezuela. They had a tremendous earthquake. A lot of people killed, and unbelievable, right in Caracas. And we have a lot of people over there helping.
State TV showed acting President Delcy Rodriguez handing out local aid. But the needs are great. Many places have received no help, and Venezuelans are overwhelmed by a wave of devastation. PBS NewsHour, I'm Nick Schifrin.
For more on the devastation in Venezuela, we're joined now from Caracas by Feature Story News reporter Andreina Fermin, who has been covering the disaster from the ground there. So you are in Caracas, as we said, as this disaster continues to unfold. Give us a sense of what you've seen and heard on the ground today.
I have seen the people on the streets trying to find supplies, trying to find water, trying to find food. So they are expecting more help. That is because Caracas and La Guaira has received help right now, but the other states needed the most because they haven't received a few help until now.
The U.S. has deployed elite search and rescue teams as part of the international response. What impact is that support having or expected to have?
Well, the people in Venezuela is really grateful for all the assistance. We expect from the U.S. all the help that they can do because we need it the most at this moment. It's a reality for Venezuela that we have been suffering for an economic crisis, a social crisis, a political crisis that has hit the country even before this earthquake, and now the situation is even worse after the earthquake.
How have those challenges, the economic crisis, the political upheaval, how have those challenges affected Venezuela's ability to respond to this current disaster?
It has been really difficult for Venezuelans to respond to this disaster because we have a healthcare system that has been hit very hard for the economic crisis in Venezuela. We have lost doctors who have left the country. We have to remember that the crisis in Venezuela is really hard, and now they have to recover after all this without work or without money or without savings or without a house to continue this after this crisis.
Future Chile News reporter Andreina Fermin reporting tonight from Caracas, Venezuela. Andreina, thank you for your time.
A Supreme Court ruling this week cleared the way for the Trump administration to end temporary protected status for Haitians and Syrians, leaving thousands of refugees suddenly without legal immigration status. One of the states that could face the biggest impact is Ohio, where more than 10,000 Haitian migrants have settled. The state's Republican Governor Mike DeWine has called the move, quote, a mistake. For more on the ruling and what it means for communities in his state, I am joined now by Governor Mike DeWine. Governor, welcome back to the NewsHour. Thanks for joining us.
Good to be back. Thank you very much.
So as you know, revoking TPS is a big part of the Trump administration's immigration crackdown. A court now says they do have the authority to do that. Why do you think that's a mistake?
I think the policy is wrong. The policy is wrong. What I'm seeing specifically in Springfield and in Ohio, you talked about a number of Haitians who have come in. You're seeing in Springfield a city that is coming back. It's been coming back for the last few years. And frankly, one of the reasons it's come back is because of the Haitians who have been there to fill jobs that were simply not being filled at all. And that's what the employers will tell you. That's what the mayor issued another statement yesterday, and he's consistently said that these Haitians are buying homes, they're opening businesses, they're working, and they're trying to, some of them raise their family there. They're contributing to the community. That's what the mayor of Springfield is saying. And my observation is he's absolutely right. So when all these individuals will have TPS, now not all cases, some of them have other legal status, but a significant number of them are under the TPS, which of course means with this ruling, of course, now, and I don't argue with the Supreme Court's decision. They were interpreting a statute that was written by Congress, which basically says that the courts cannot interfere with that decision, a designation such as the administration made. My point is about policy, and I've consistently said this. This is bad for Ohio. This is a job killer for Ohio. It's a job killer for Springfield. It's not good for our state.
Can I put to you, Governor, what we've heard from the administration on this, which is something we heard Stephen Miller of the White House say yesterday when asked about whether or not it is safe for Haitians to go back to Haiti. Here's what he said.
The fact that there might be pockets of Haiti where there's higher crime rates, guess what? There's pockets of Chicago with crime rates just as high, right? There's pockets of cities like St. Louis with crime just as high. Pockets of Los Angeles, crime just as high. It has never been the case that having communities that have high crime rates is a basis for asylum. Never has been, never will be.
So, Governor, the White House says it's safe for Haitians to go back, and they also say this was meant to be a temporary status. It's in the name, and it's been, in some cases, extended for years and years. What's your response to what they're saying?
Well, to say it's safe to go to Haiti is absurd, and to compare it to Chicago, I think it doesn't make any sense at all. Look, I have a lot of contacts in Haiti. We work with people in Haiti. We have a school down there, my wife and I do. And, we've traveled there 20, 25 times, and we have a lot of contact there. It is worse today in Haiti than it's ever been. It's never was very good. The only time, frankly, it was good is when the U.S. Marines were down there, and they did absolutely a phenomenal job.
Good. I love my soap line.
But the situation is just absolutely terrible. People are killed every single day. The gangs basically run a good part of the country. And we're talking now in Port-au-Prince. We're talking about the capital. You cannot fly into Port-au-Prince with a U.S. carrier because the U.S. carrier will not go into Port-au-Prince. Why? Because the gangs shoot at the planes when they come in. No, it's a horrible, horrible situation. So nobody who knows anything about Haiti can say that the situation is improved. In fact, it's gotten a lot worse. Good evidence of that is, the Haitians who I have talked to who knew that they would have to leave or thought they might have to leave. There wasn't anybody I've talked to that said they were going back to Haiti. They're going to try to find any place else to go to where they can work and support their family, but they're not going back there.
Governor, if I can ask you as well, you mentioned the mayor in Springfield. My colleague William Brangham was on the ground there a little over a year ago, speaking to folks in the community. He met with Haitians who had settled there. He talked to some companies who said they were very happy to have people fill the jobs and to fill communities that had been somewhat abandoned. But the mayor also said at the time that services were being taxed, right? People needed some support, language translation services in the schools, in the hospitals, in the clinics. And he said it was stretching resources. So what's the balance there to you?
Well, look, that's true. It was a big influx within a relatively short period of time, and we worked with the mayor to try to help them. So certainly, schools have Haitian children in there, and that is additional cost if they don't speak the language. But the interesting thing about the employers, despite the fact that there was a language barrier, despite the fact there was a culture barrier, employers were hiring them, and they were hiring them because they had jobs to fill. And there's a multiplier effect. Some of these companies told me we were able to put on a second shift because of the Haitians. Some of them told me that we're able to take on bigger projects, sell more goods, whatever it is that they were selling. That has a multiplier effect in the economy because of that economic activity. Other people will get jobs because of that. So yes, it is a challenge that the city of Springfield has taken on. They've done a very, very good job. But
maybe I found my X4 saves. Apparently I backed them up, I guess. I don't really know. Yeah, there it is. And there's a copy of X4. I want to go in and see if it will give me my old saves because I worked so hard on the code cannot because was still fix this problem. Oh, maybe. Okay, so maybe I actually have to fire it up first. Maybe. I don't know. Oh yeah. So maybe I do need to fire it up once. A lot of Galmill in here now. So I wanted to load X4. And then we'll do the non-Steam. No, skip. Odd. Okay, there's X4. I want to run it with the no Steam copy, but I think I tried to do it too early and it might cause the bug. We'll see. Hopefully this is my old save. We'll see. It's in the stars. Nope. Don't know why. Must have been that is the GOG version. The GOG, it's its own GOG version save, so. But anyways, exit to desktop. I need the no Steam to work, so we'll see. Incorrect version of the exe file detected. Please make sure that your game contents is up to date and that you're using the newest available exe file. No. Let's go to the EgoSoft forums and sign in and get a new. I bet I have to get a new executable, is what it is. Okay, so there was a forum security incident. Was there? Yeah. Empire update. No search is Steam. I'm looking for no Steam is what I'm looking for. Oh, phone's ringing. Hello? Hello? Hey. No, she's got 6 cans left, which is like 2 days. I don't know. Yes, or I can do it, whatever's needed, you know? You don't always have to shoulder this burden. Yeah, she's okay for 2 days. Okay, no problem. I'm here if you need me. I see you then. I am trying to get the no Steam executable. No, there's gonna be like quickly switch. Go back to where I was. What happens if I Google this? I'm trying to get the current no Steam executable for EgoSoft's game X4 Foundations. Can you get me to the forum link to it? Here we go. I don't know. So I have to come back to this page if I want to get this non-Steam executable. It's a good link. It'll remind me where to get it from. Oh, is it Federation Day? I didn't realize it. Man, I don't know. Okay, we take this to two places. We come here to backups, and we come here and we delete this thing. And now we go paste. And then we come here to X4 Foundations, and we delete. Then we say paste. Then we say make a shortcut. Create shortcut. Go into the options to properties and always run this in administrator, apply. Then I'm going to drag you down. Oops, no, wait, no, not. Put you back, and we're going to delete this and repin this. Run. Oh, that worked for some reason. So just remove this and pin that. It appears that the, oops, yeah, pin that. Okay, and there's the X4 non-executable. What other cool stuff on that page does it have? Bonus material, here we go. No Steam files, EgoSoft Blender mod. Oh, maybe it's getting my saves? I don't know. Fine by me. Do you have my save? Oh, look, wait. 5/15/2026. That's a month ago. Oh no, this is the same guy. Wait. Oh, come on, motherfucker, you loaded the wrong thing. Oh well, just load. Okay, cool. I don't care about starting over. I just want a copy that works. So, how we doing here? Oh, we got this thing. Cool. Pull all the drones, and we're gonna go get more money. I've been making so much money with these Tristans. They have paid for themselves so well. All the sites have been done. I can't do a moderate, I don't think. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they're in there for the moderate. Maybe they're in the moderate? I don't know. You loaded the wrong save, so this whole thing was a waste of time. Let's go.
Ukri.
So cool, but 5/15/2003. The asteroid belt quick save is the one I need though. So this place was frankly wonderful. I got so much money out of here. I want to stay here. A lot of jumps, like 5 jumps. Well, let's go to a safe spot so I don't get ganked. And I'll just wait for other things to pop. I'm sure another little scout thing will pop soon. I'll just wait. I've made so much money. I've made like 350 million or something like that. It's fucking insane. That's so much money for doing nothing. I can gamble forever. I should be gambling right now while in between. It's like my solution to it is like gamble more. You're making more money. You're getting bigger. Gamble more. It's like terrible at those. So I like VNIs. Yeah, I'll take a swing at a VNI. Swing at a Pioneer Consortium. Fly that ship, yeah. I like Kikimori's. The Corsair Navy's so cheap. The Tall War Fleet. I'll take a 2-swing at the Tall War Fleet. The Harpy. The Heron Navy. The Imicus. Sweet. Fun as hell. It's fun to join a bunch of them. Okay, we in this game, we're playing. It's running very, very well.
Requesting permission to dock. Docking permission.
You can now use modifier keys to give queued shift and priority control orders directly from the map or from within the indirect menu. By default, orders given to ships without using these modifier keys will now overwrite any previously queued order. If you prefer the old behavior, you can change the default order behavior setting in the game settings menu to queue so that by pressing shift while using the indirect menu will set back. I think this would like to try the new default, or if you would like to, I would like to use. I would like to. Yes, I want to do the new one. So cool. So, right now, I don't have to do shit. I want to issue an order to you. Or I don't know. Maybe protein paste might be for sale out here somewhere. Oh look, 92 bought. Sold 92, 129. That's not a bad margin. Let's go buy some protein paste. No, wait. I want to go to here and say der and der. I want to repeat orders. Oh, okay. So maybe it's changed now. So So, I want to buy this protein paste, confirm, and then I want to sell this thing, confirm. Then we're going to go to information, and we're going to say repeat orders, repeat all orders, but that'll take 1 star. I don't think this pilot has a star yet, so...
Entering Mars.
Oops. Eye for an eye. We're looking to show syndicates like the scale plate pack that they cannot simply get away with major criminal activity. Fly to Terra Orbital Defense Station and destroy criminal traffic. I'll take it, yep.
I knew I could count on you.
Now, just buy a lot of protein paste. Oh, shift. Buy protein. It's set up how I like it, actually, which is good. Put the music on the way Perfect. Yes, there's the scout in a small. I'll just stay and I'll turn this system. We're at like 26%. I'll turn this whole fucking system. I don't care. Did we both jump? Yeah, we did. I like X4 because it'll play itself, and that's something that I really need out of the video games that I'm playing right now. I think I'm going to go back to Mortal for that reason. Mortal will chop wood by itself and just put pure gold in your pocket, and I want that. I want the best spot in Fab. Right outside the East Gate. Like the first place you can put a fucking house. I don't care. Yep. And I'll put yeah, like just a house. Yep, and I'll stuff fucking boxes.
The ship will be undocking soon.
I love this fucking game. I want to play it like this, like it's a television game. And I want to just watch my empire grow. I don't want to play this game. I already play Eve. I don't want to do any work except for some clicking. I got far like that too. Save. Save, damn it.
Bookery.
Gotta make sure the settings are all right and everything because it's re-downloaded. Yep, see stuff like that. Now why 4x? Now why not 4x? Wait, what? Oh, FOV should be lower. Oh, I don't know. Maybe I should put it on, in X4 Foundations and in my DLSS, the X3 and the X4 are grayed out when they weren't before, after a reinstall. Why? Ooh. Oh, they say I should verify integrity. Oh, I did save it. I'll save one more time before I go. $62 in local. Try reloading, see if we can fix it. I'm trying to verify the integrity of Export Foundations. I'm just going to validate the files to make sure, but then I'll go back in and see. Maybe that's it. Cool. Ooh, 20,000 skill points. Nice. $21. Damn, she's been backing them up. She has 50k skill points sitting there. Oh, damn. Well, I have been playing the game, you know, having fun, doing the game, doing up the thing, doing the Uptown Lowdown. So, yeah. So, did you fix anything? I don't know. So, now... That crashed it, huh? It doesn't like that link, which is fucking annoying. But that's okay. We could always go this and link it down here. You can't do that? No. In any event, I want you to pull this down. Right below that. Okay. No stream. Yep. And we'll see if we can fix it. kitty. You want to come back inside? Yep, I'm coming. Yep, it's getting towards dinner time, isn't it?
It is full of stars.
Those yellow and black eyes of yours. They're just beautiful. Well, hi, I'm gonna pet you. Yeah, I'm gonna pet you. I'm your best buddy. How are you? Beautiful little kitty. I love you. Hello. Meow. Okay. You're the bestest, kitty. You're the bestest. Oh. Alright, get back in there, I guess. But before you do, I want to take a look at display settings. No, 3x and 4x are blocked out, and I'll see why. That's odd. It's like... Why is the 4x turned off? It's fucking annoying. Everything's in low. Nice. Did you mess with my microphone again? I bet you probably did. I am trying to get to my microphone settings. Oh, good. But in this, under sound and voice and video, I am trying to I'm trying to get to invoice and video. Invoice. Yep, custom is giving me all the buttons and dials. Chris, push to talk. Alt, push to talk. Delay. I don't know. I think... Ugh. Fucking huge bug. I don't remember where this is. It's in here somewhere. There it is. Automatic gain control. Gotta make sure it's off. Something messed with my audio, but it wasn't this. So it's fine. Discord shouldn't be open. I'm not using it. I'm gonna go close it. Oh, I have a new driver. That's good. When I quit to go to dinner, I will install my new driver. Which is soon. Got to do that soon because I've got to water the garden. No, something's wrong where I'm not getting the right settings and I don't know why. 3x and 4x are grayed out. Let's go ask the actual Google engine itself. X4 Foundations, DLSS3 and 4 grayed out. Turn off using this. You're using this. Maybe, oh, so I guess the GeForce Now supports it, but my card doesn't, and that's why. That's what we're actually. That's the problem we're running across here. Okay, so let's get back in. Okay, well, answer problem solved. Excuse me. So we capped. Time to go on. I've got like a few minutes here. I will shut down the video and update my video card driver while I'm going out here. So I'll stop early at like 6:30 because I don't want to be late for dinner, and I've got to water the garden and scoop the box and restart my computer and do the graphics card update because I am running games off my card quite a bit lately. Maybe I do. I don't really play Eve. Maybe I do want to like take some of the weight of the graphics off the card. Medium, disabled, medium, right? I'll do the same thing on her. Now, what happened there? I can't see any of my clients. Oh, because it's like initializing. That might be why. So yeah, it's running well enough anyways. No, I think the Eve clients died, actually, is what it is. Let's just go restart them.
I think if you ask the business people, if you ask the mayor, what is going to happen, the answer is when these individuals who no longer have TPS status, when they don't have TPS status, they cannot be employed. So, they're going to be unemployed, and many of them have already left. Some of them, the rest of them will have to at some point and try to find some country where they can actually work. And the big picture for Ohio is this: we are a red-hot state. We are bringing in companies all the time to Ohio. The real question today is, do we have the people to fill that? So we put a great deal of effort on education, on job training. We put a great deal of effort on career tech, as well as focusing on colleges, because they need all of the above. But without immigrants coming in, it's going to be hard. It's going to be harder for us to fill these jobs. If you look at the increase in population in Ohio, and we are now going up for the first time in a number of years. If you look at that, probably 3/4 of that is a direct result of immigrants. If you look at some of the people who are...
Well, there's so much more to talk about around this. No, I really appreciate your time, and I hope you'll come back and join us as we follow the impact. We'll have to leave it there for now. That is Republican Governor Mike DeWine of Ohio joining us tonight. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Shut him off.
Our Nick Schifrin is back with us now with breaking developments out of Iran, where the U.S. conducted new strikes in response to what President Trump said was Iran's violation of the ceasefire. Nick, what more can you tell us?
Jeff, a U.S. official tells me tonight that 6 U.S. aircraft attacked 4 Iranian targets, Iranian radar installations, as well as missile and drone storage in Sirik on the Strait of Hormuz. Now, the military calls the strikes a response to an Iranian attack yesterday on the container ship Ever Lovely south of Sirik off Oman's coast. You see it, the red dot right there. And now tonight, Iran vowing another response that in their words would be swift and decisive.
So does this threaten to derail the effort at U.S. and Iran diplomacy?
I mean, the memorandum of understanding says hostilities will stop. So the more military action you get, clearly the more that challenges diplomacy. Iran called tonight's action a reckless violation of the ceasefire. The U.S. says Iran violated the ceasefire by attacking that ship. But there's a bigger problem here, Jeff. Iran is trying to maintain its chokehold on the Strait, not only by attacking that ship yesterday, but also demanding that other ships use a route through the strait close to its border in the north. That's in orange there. Instead of the route the U.S. wants near Oman, that route is in yellow. So President Trump's trying to use these military strikes tonight to convince Iran to open the strait once and for all, as President Trump warned that he would, but it is not clear if it's enough. It's not clear if Iran is even interested in giving up the leverage that it has gained during the war, which is that its ability to open and close the strait whenever it wants. Tonight, just now, Vice President Vance sent a message. Look, if Iran has a problem, quote, pick up the phone, but, quote, violence will be met with more violence.
All right, Nick Schifrin, thanks as always.
Thank you.
In the day's other headlines, former U.S. National Security Advisor John Bolton pleaded guilty today to a single count of illegally retaining classified information. The former Trump administration official turned Trump critic appeared at a federal court in Maryland and said he was sorry for his actions. Bolton faced 18 counts related to his handling of classified information, including accusations that he shared notes with family members while writing a memoir. Outside the courthouse, prosecutors said Bolton, quote, put our national security at grave risk.
No one is above the law, and I hope that this prosecution sends a clear message that we will vigorously investigate and prosecute individuals who violate our national security laws.
As part of the deal, Bolton will pay more than $2 million in fines and could face up to 5 years in prison. His sentencing is set for October 28th. The House Oversight Committee has served subpoenas to billionaire investor Leon Black after he refused to answer some questions during voluntary testimony today about his ties to Jeffrey Epstein. The former head of Apollo Global Management denied any criminal wrongdoing, saying he was deceived by the late sex offender. Black maintained a years-long relationship with Epstein and paid him a reported $158 million in fees between 2012 and 2017. But in his opening statement, Black said he was unaware of Epstein's nefarious activity until later, saying, quote, "I knew Jekyll, I didn't know Hyde." Israel and Lebanon signed a framework agreement today aimed at ending the fighting between the Israelis and Hezbollah. No details were made public, but an Israeli official told the Associated Press that talks have addressed a redeployment of Israeli forces inside Lebanon after the territory is cleared of Hezbollah infrastructure and the militant group is disarmed. Flanked by the Israeli and Lebanese ambassadors in Washington today, Secretary of State Marco Rubio called the new document a first step toward peace. Israel's representative agreed.
In this performance-based trilateral framework agreement, Iran is out, Hezbollah is out, and the road to peace between Israel and Lebanon is in.
Earlier in the day, plumes of smoke could be
Come on,
seen near
peace.
the Lebanese city of Nabatea after the latest Israeli airstrikes there. That is in spite of a ceasefire with Hezbollah. The Iran-backed group has not been a party to the U.S.-mediated talks and has said it will not agree to any plan that would include its disarmament or removal. Russia's military says it intercepted more than 600 Ukrainian drones overnight as Kyiv launched one of its largest attacks since the start of the war. Drones targeted more than a dozen regions and Russian-occupied Crimea, seen in this footage released by the Ukrainian military. Russian officials in Crimea declared a state of emergency amid a rise in Ukrainian attacks. In the meantime, in eastern Ukraine, local officials say a Russian attack injured at least 7 people and damaged several buildings in Zaporizhia. Also today, there were scenes of joy and relief as the latest prisoner swap saw 160 service members head home from each side. President Volodymyr Zelensky says almost all of the Ukrainian prisoners had been in captivity since 2022. The heat wave sweeping Europe this week is the most severe and widespread ever recorded. That's according to a study published today by the World Weather Attribution Group made up of scientists and climate experts. The UN's weather agency says the deadly heat wave will move east this weekend, carrying more record-breaking temperatures.
Just to remind you, we're in June. We are in June. We're seeing heat levels which would be more typical of late July, of August.
And the records keep falling, with the UK breaking its June temperature record for the 3rd straight day. Spain also saw new all-time June highs this week. Health authorities there estimate more than 300 deaths could be attributed to heat. The Netherlands closed many schools and some government operations to avoid unnecessary heat exposure. And at Rome's famous Colosseum, local authorities are using mist to try to bring some relief to visitors. In World Cup action, all 3 host nations, Canada, Mexico, and the U.S., are advancing to the knockout round, even though Team USA lost to Turkey late last night. France and Norway are also moving forward. They played each other this afternoon, with France winning 4-1. Also today, Senegal easily defeated Iraq 5-0 to stay in the running for a place in the round of 32. The knockout stage of the tournament starts on Sunday. On Wall Street today, stocks ended slightly lower as AI shares continue to weigh on the markets. The Dow Jones Industrial Average slipped just over 40 points. The Nasdaq fell 60 points, or about 0.25%. The S&P 500 also closed out the week just a touch lower. Still to come on the News Hour, more public school districts across the country limit screen time for students. David Brooks and Jonathan Capehart weigh in on the week's political headlines. And the WNBA suspends a player for a foul against league star Caitlin Clark.
This is the PBS NewsHour from the David M. Rubenstein studio at WETA in Washington, headquarters of PBS News.
This week, the nation's second largest school district, Los Angeles Unified, imposed strict new limits on screen time for its roughly 400,000 students. As William Brangham reports, it's just the latest example of a growing backlash against technology in classrooms across the country.
That's right, Jeff. LA, for like many districts, for years worked aggressively to get technology into the hands of students, to get Chromebooks and iPads into the classrooms. But this new policy, one of the most aggressive in the country, marks a dramatic shift. No screen time will be allowed before second grade, and older students will see sharp limits. 6 hours per week for middle schoolers and 10 hours, including homework time, for high schoolers. So to help understand these new rules and the rationale behind them, we are joined by Nick Melvoin. He's a member of the Los Angeles School Board, and he sponsored this new screen time rule. Nick, thank you so much for being here. Just a decade ago, Los Angeles was spending hundreds of millions of dollars to get technology into the classrooms, and now there is this abrupt shift. How did we get to this point?
Well, thanks for having me. And I think, as policymakers, particularly when it comes to students' educations and livelihoods, we have an opportunity when we know better to do better. And like you mentioned, LA was a real pioneer when it came to trying to bridge the digital divide with laptops and devices and internet. And it was a blessing that we were, because during COVID, of course, that was a lifeline for the hundreds of thousands of students who relied on those in LA for any education. But since we returned to school in person, and I spend time every week in classrooms, I was struck by kind of the over-reliance we had on technology in schools. First, students who were on their cell phones. I brought the resolution to ban smartphones in LA Unified a couple years ago, and we just actually had the results of a survey of our teachers that came back this week that said over 90% of teachers report that engagement is up, mental health challenges are down when it came to cell phones. But I still was seeing so many kids on screens for hours a day. And so I just thought it was important for us to recalibrate and reset students' relationship with technology as we return to school and as we think about the next 10 years.
So how will these limits work in practice? Are teachers going to keep a stopwatch of how much screen time is going to happen for the young students? How are they going to do this?
Well, so the idea, not unlike our cell phone policy, is not to start with the punitive, but really the instructive, and try to win hearts and minds, if you will. And this was developed with educators in mind. We are a first mover here. It was after my resolution came out that the Surgeon General's office had suggested screen time limits. But other than that, there's really no district that has a policy like this. And so it was an iterative process with our teachers. And again, the idea is not to be punitive, but to recalibrate and revert back to, not technology being the default, but being an instructional tool, just that. And so, at elementary school, it is more restrictive. In high school, it presumes the fact that you're going to have certain classes like a computer science or graphic design that may require more screen time. But the idea is that teachers just need to think about that more holistically. And if they're assigning research that's going to be online for homework, they should limit the amount of time that kids are on screens during the day. There's not a punitive piece in place like a teacher log. We want to respect educators or professionals. This is about the amount of time that kids are sitting with a screen, knowing how much screen time they may be getting outside of the school day. We want to make sure that we take put a stake in the ground in how much they should be sitting in front of screens during the school day.
I mean, some of your critics have argued that this doesn't make a clear distinction between harmful screen time, playing games or apps or things that are not educational, and screen time use that is educational. And it goes back to this original question. Do you worry that this could exacerbate the digital divide between wealthier districts where kids could have access to screens more often at home and poorer districts?
Well, what I was responding to, and my teaching career began in South LA, where we saw this digital divide. And I should be clear that this policy still encourages families who need devices and internet to opt in. The district will continue providing that for families who need it, but it won't be the default option. And what we see is that students from lower income backgrounds, because their parents are working multiple jobs, they're the ones who are outside of the school day actually spending more time on screens. They get home and there's a lot of, whether that's TV time or iPads or devices. And so there's an irony here here because from an equity perspective, it's actually those students who are seeing the deleterious effects of screens throughout the day. And so I think this policy strikes the right balance between saying we still want to make sure that students who need it have access to devices and internet, but we know that those students in need are the ones who actually will benefit the most from a renewed focus on hands-on learning, less time in front of a screen, going outdoors at the elementary school level in particular, more play-based learning. That was my hope with this.
More than a dozen states have been following your lead here. The previous Surgeon General warned against screen time for young people. Do you think this is the beginning of a vanguard, of a pushback against technology in classes?
I do. I think, like I said at the outset, when we know better, we need to do better. And I think that LA Unified is leading what will be a nationwide, if not global, charge to recalibrate and think differently about the promise of ed tech and focus on that tactile hands-on learning and the mental health benefits for kids when they're off of screens.
All right, that is Nick Melvoin of the Los Angeles Unified School District. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
President Trump once again upends the GOP's agenda in Congress, and progressive Democrats swept the Democratic primaries in New York. To discuss that and more, we turn tonight to Brooks and Capehart. That's The Atlantic's David Brooks, who joins us tonight from the Aspen Institute's Ideas Festival, and Jonathan Capehart of MS Now. It's great to see you both. So Congress passed the most significant housing affordability bill in decades with overwhelming bipartisan support in the House and Senate. President Trump abruptly cancels the ceremonial bill signing because he's upset that Congress won't embrace his elections bill, with affordability being the defining issue of both parties heading into November. What do you make of this president walking away from what could have been a victory lap?
And let's not forget just how big the vote was for this housing bill in the Senate. 85-5. When was the last time you heard of any bill passing the Senate, especially the configuration of this Senate, by that much? This was something Republicans desperately wanted. It was something that they would be able to run on in the midterms. Some were already crowing about it on social media, and then the president lowers the hammer over a fit of pique over, whatever it was in that moment. And now they all have to run away from it. We don't even know if the speaker has, or when he's going to transmit the bill to the White House so that the 10-day clock can start ticking. This, to me, I can't remember who I heard say this, but they said it seems that the president doesn't care that much about a Republican majority. What he cares about is dominance over the Republican Party, whatever the size of it is. And if that's the case, he very well might get his wish.
David, what about that? The president really being focused on being the dominant player here, trying to use this refusal to sign the housing bill as leverage for this voter ID bill that is stalled in a Republican-led Senate.
Are you asking me if Donald Trump is concerned about himself? Yeah, I think so. I've been trying to go back through history and think of a time where an impulsive narcissist, got less chaotic or less impulsive as he aged. And I can't think of any times in history. The course of the behavior is toward decay, and Trump is moving from impulsivity to just chaos on that day. And I think it's part of just the natural process of the psychological deterioration that happens to a lot of presidents, but it's also part of what's happened over the last 6 months. I don't think that day when he canceled the signing ceremony with like 90 minutes before it was supposed to happen, when he went off on a tear about the things he's obsessed with, I don't think it's unrelated to Iran. I think he understands, as everybody within the administration must understand, that this was one of the big defeats of the last many decades. Republicans know it, Democrats know it, people in the White House know it. And so he senses things sliding away from him, his power weakening, his stature humiliated. And I think it's leading him to behave in much more obsessive ways than even he has the last decade.
Well, let's shift our focus to the outcome of the New York primaries, because the candidates who were backed by New York's mayor, Zohran Mamdani, ousted 2 sitting House Democrats to include the chair of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus. And the The House Democratic leader, Hakeem Jeffries, he campaigned aggressively against Mamdani's candidates and ended up losing. So, Jonathan, is this a genuine realignment of the Democratic Party, or is this in many ways specific to New York City politics?
I think it's very specific to New York City politics. And let's have the realignment conversation once we get through.
Okay, guys, I'm sorry. I've got to pause it here because I got to go water the garden and scoop the box, and that's going to take like half an hour. And then I got family dinner where we got meatloaf tonight. It's going to be a good night. And so I will be back here, you know, maybe. And then after I get off dinner, depending on the weather, it's kind of cold, so I don't know how I feel. See how my body feels. But I'm going to go for another walk. Now, I don't think I'm going to do 5 miles, but I might do like 2. And so that might be, it might be at the latest like 10 o'clock or something like that, but I don't think so. We'll see. Depends on how the night is. Then I'm on for like 5 hours, and then, yeah. So, gonna be gone here. I'm sorry. It's gonna go live my life. I love you guys. I will see you later. Bye. So... I wish to go to you and stop recording.